guys? It's Kictor. Sorry I'm late. I was buying a piss gate. Cause if you do not know, I have two darling little Shibas. I have two darling little Shiba babies. And you know, I must say, it is not their fault. It is not their faults because before we moved into this beautiful house with a yard, our dogs did pee on mats. So they learned, because we lived in an apartment with hardwood floors, they learned that when you go pee, you pee on the mat. Very good little Shibas, pee on the mat. Move into our new home, they have a yard. We take them for walks all the time, you know. But we bought a nice rug. And what is a rug to a Shiba baby but a perfect little piss mat? So, it has happened a couple of times. We've caught it. We've been like, oh my god, okay, we got to make sure we force them to go out at nighttime because someone is peeing on the rug at night. And we clean it thoroughly. Stitch and I are very sensitive to smells and stuff like that. We have a very clean house. We don't want any smells or anything like that, you know? So we then have a security camera and we angle it towards the carpet at night to see, is there a Shiba coming in here and pissing in here at night for real? And yes, I have video footage of little Lexi, the darling of the heavens, my beloved little baby girl, walking in, middle of the night, and pissing on the carpet. So, we rented an industrial carpet cleaner today as the last ditch effort, and I just bought a gate, and we're not gonna let them into the living room at night anymore. Because they can, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They are 5 years old. They lived 5 years thinking that peeing on a little carpet mat was where you pee, you know? So it's not their fault. It's not their fault. But today we lived in a house of piss. And Stitch and I have just been laughing in insanity. Because, the carpet cleaner, just made the smell, oh my god, it just amplified everything. We went over it 1,000 times. We went to the store and bought new cleaner. And I think I definitely cooked some years off my life by inhaling that much chemicals. But it's all good now. It's all good now. And we're here, and it's good. So, who else has been unable to think about anything but Scumvillain? Because, oh my god, after yesterday reading the new chapter, I am so invested. I'm so reinvigorated. I was reading Scumvillain fanfiction this morning. As you can tell, I did not change any of my emojis. It's still Scumvillain because it's still so fresh. Xavian has been a member for 13 months and says, I've officially been in Japan for a year. Oh my god, cool! Thank you for being a part of this chapter of my life. It's been a big help. Oh god, Zixuan. Yeah. Unfortunately, we gotta read that today. But yeah, dude, I love getting to hear about your life in Japan. It sounds so cool, and you've even shared some fun snacks with us and stuff, and you're just such a cool person. You're such a talented artist and writer. I saw you updated chapter 2 of your fic. I haven't read it yet though. But I love having you in this community, so thank you so much for coming to hang out today and celebrate being over a year of being on my membership. I really, really appreciate that. So thank you so much. And Miss Rosie has been a member for a whole year. Oh my god, Miss Rosie, it somehow feels so much longer than that. That's crazy. I also appreciate you so much for supporting me for a year. That is just, it is amazing. I appreciate that. I feel that just so much. So thank you. Thank you so much. We just washed the new bowls that you gave us. I'm very excited to eat out of them with my family. It'll be so cute. Miss Rosie says, LOL dogs, you love them, but they drive you crazy. My sister has trained her dogs to ring a cowbell by the door if they need to go out. That is very smart. That is very smart. They bang on the door when they want to go out. And they're outside all day. They love playing outside. We have a cool backyard and they're in the backyard. They're just lazy at night, you know? Sugar Kiss says, I'm hoping for more and more Mojang fics. Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh my god, the Mafia boss, the fact that that line that was like, you just can't help but picture an inappropriate scenario because Mobejun looks so much like a mob boss, and Shang Jinghua looks so much like just like a stereotypical uke, you know? Oh my goodness, some big hug kisses! Ah! We got, let's see, Rose City Kimono has been a Supreme member for 12 months and says, I re-listened to your scum read from last night this morning at work. I loved listening in last night and rewatching again this morning. Yay! Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I had so much fun. Yesterday was really wicked. Xavian says, oh, thanks, Trust. When I figure out the postal service here, you will have more snacks. Oh, thank you. You're too sweet. DRZ Gaming has been a Supreme member for 15 months. Thank you so much, DRZ. Oh my goodness. Wait, Rose City Kimono has also been a Supreme for a whole year. Wow, something big must have happened last year that made people become members 12 months ago. I'm like, what were we doing last year around November? Is that when we started reading Scum Villain? That's crazy. Thank you, Rose City Kimono, for being here for a whole year and a Supreme as well. Thank you so much. And DRZ has been a Supreme for 15 months and says, I will go back to previous live and watch. We'll probably listen while working tomorrow night. Also, I hope everything has been good and things get better with the pups. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm having a really good time, I promise. I'm just being funny to tell you guys about it. Everything is so fun with Stitch, even if something like annoying happens with the dogs or we have to go do chores or errands or whatever. We do everything together and it's always so much fun. Stitch was holding the cord to the vacuum while I... Emma says, I actually rewatched the Scum Villain Extra stream while I was at work and I think I appreciated it more the second time. Oh, nice! Yeah, I feel like I was trying to tell Stitch about it and there was so much stuff that I forgot already, so... I'm excited to, I'm gonna make a video, like a Danmei book club on it. So that will be fun. Kenzie says, I am Lexi's representative and can confirm she did nothing wrong. Yes, I believe you. I believe you. Cup Noodle Cat, thank you for donating. Thank you so much. Cup Noodle Cat says, I finally caught up. Life got in the way of Modazushi streams, and this is now my 4th Modazushi stream for the day. But I'm finally caught back up. Oh my goodness, you must be sick of my voice at this point. Thank you so much for listening to them. I'm so excited that you have enjoyed them. I'm glad that you're here live too. And Sugar Kiss says, shout out to those who are single today. 11/11 Singles Day. Oh, very nice, very nice. I don't know if this is the same thing, but you know, like Pepero, they're like the other Pockies. They're doing a Stray Kids collab, and I just bought like all of them for my friend because they were selling them at the Korean market nearby. And those are like, I think they had like a special 11/11 day as well. Night Owl also uses a bell for the puppies. I think we should try out a bell. Oh, Orion's Belt sent 5 Bingcho kisses. Thank you so much, Orion's Belt. Oh, it is also Pepero Day. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Orion's Belt says, hiya, today is my birthday. Oh my god, happy birthday, Orion's Belt. Thank you so much for donating on your birthday. Spent the day out with my sisters, and now I can chill and listen to surely only good things happening to my favorite characters. Oh, yes, surely only good things. Ashley Attic sent 50 Bing Cho kisses and just sent some hearts. Oh my god, thank you so much, Ashley. What? That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. You covered the cost of the vacuum rental. Thank you. That's so kind of you. I'm glad you got to send some Bing Cho kisses. Kate's art really is amazing. I'm glad everybody's been able to appreciate it. Thank you so much for such a generous donation. That is just seriously so kind of you. Thank you so much. Briarbox says, hi from work. I finished the panels today and I'm so full of excitement to submit them. That is wicked! Oh my god, very excited, dude. I'm super excited. That's great to hear. Also, Briarbox, we got Beauty's Blade today, so I'm excited to make a video about that. Lesbians in my Dan May? More likely than you think. I was actually just editing the short about that. And DKW Morgan sent 5 gift memberships. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I'm not sure why my stream is not doing the thing where, like, when you get a membership, it, like, keeps showing the thing. I'll have to figure that out. Something must have happened when I did the Scumvillain edit. But thank you so much, DKW Morgan. Welcome, the new members. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Glitch, that you haven't been feeling good. I'm so sorry. I hope that you feel better soon. I'm glad that you could come say hi today, though. But thinking of you and sending you some good vibes. X Jewel says, looking forward to any new funny Dan May TikTok videos. Oh yeah, definitely. There'll be another one soon. Guy the Pirate Witch says, I ordered Beauty Blade. Nice! Very nice. Yeah, I'm excited. Has anybody read it? Has anybody read it? And do you want to tell me any of your thoughts, like non-spoiler-y thoughts? I looked at the pictures. But I have no clue what it's about. CSL, thank you for donating. Oh, the recap. CSL sent 10 Bing Cho kisses and said, recap, Chongqi Path, Wei Wuxian and Wen Ning invited to Jinling's celebration. We are ambushed. A cursed Jin Sizhen aims to kill Wei Wuxian. Jin Sizhuan intervenes. Wen Ning kills who he should not have killed. Yan Li is waiting. No! Yeah, last stream was not good. The last stream was very sad. Wei Wuxian lost control of Wen Ning. He got in a little fight, even though Jin Sizhuan was trying to chill the fight because Jin Sizhuan wrongly accused Wei Wuxian of cursing him. And Jin Sizhuan told Wei Wuxian to calm Wen Ning down, and he's like, if I calm Wen Ning down, your army's just gonna kill me. And then Jin Sizhuan's like, no, they won't. And then Wen Ning killed him. And everybody hated that. Shane asks if I've read ORV. I haven't, but Stitch has. And Dearsy Gaming, thank you for your donation, Dearsy. Oh, I'm also hopefully getting a new gaming laptop next week. It's on sale thanks to Black Friday, and I miss gaming. Also, happy birthday, Orion Belt. Dude, that is awesome. That is so fucking awesome. Yeah, take advantage of the Black Friday sale. Oh my god, Stitch and I bought pillows today. Very adult purchase. You know, you spend like a quarter of your life sleeping or whatever. Listen, let me tell you this experience. We walk into Sleep Country, and we're feeling up the pillows, and we're like, okay, well, which one do you feel like? And this lady comes up to us and is like, oh, you're gonna lay down on the bed, and I'm gonna hand you all the pillows, and you're gonna try them all out. And I was not expecting to do this, but it was very novel. So we laid down, and we literally tried out all the pillows in the store. And she was very exact. She was telling Stitch, she was like, you're at like a 12% angle. You need to have more of a 15% angle with your nose facing the sky. We're sleeping on your back. And I sleep on my stomach, and she was just like, you're cooked. Don't fucking sleep on your stomach. You're fucked. Your spine is fucked. So, anyways, we bought new pillows today, and it was buy one, get one free, which is amazing, because good pillows are fucking expensive. So, yeah, but it's funny because I have been having spine pain, so maybe I need to start. I can't sleep on my back because I get sleep paralysis if I sleep on my back. So, yeah, Sleep Country, Canada. Why buy a mattress anywhere else? Ching! Yes, Xavier knows the Canadian sleeper agent music. I sleep on my side, but I have to be holding something. I have to be holding Stitch to sleep on my side. But sometimes Stitch is like, I have to turn around, and then we will spoon. But yeah. Lunar Sky says, I am also a stomach sleeper and can confirm I also have a bad back. Ah, fuck. Okay, Oh wait, I want to find out. I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna do a poll. How do you sleep? On back. My neck. My back. How would I know when I'm asleep, says the Wizard of Moss. I feel like I sleep on my side, but I like to have my arm under me, so it kind of puts me on my stomach, you know? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Oh yeah, also today we got Thrice Married to Salted Fish. So that's another exciting danme that came out today. Okay, looks like back. Ooh, back is rare. Back is only 8%. Stitch sleeps on her back like this. She sleeps like how I think Chuaning would sleep. Side is 60%. Damn. Stomach is 18%. Wow, stomach is more than back. Okay, okay. And secret fourth option is at 15%. Wow, more people sleep in the secret fourth option than on their back. Very interesting. Spark Major, hi! Fish marriage! Stitch and I were both surprised looking at the Thrice Married to Salted Fish that there was like modern art, and we were like, is this an isekai? Is this like a transmigration? Because we both don't know anything about it. So that was funny. Talika has been a member for 50 months. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And says, I finally caught a stream. Oh, thank you for being a Supreme for 50 months, Talika. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you could be here to hang out too. Thank you for supporting me for so long, Talika. Invest in a hug pillow. Yes, I love sleeping with a stuffed animal or with Stitch or holding a pillow. I definitely love holding something. Quinn says, I'm a side sleeper. If I'm on my back for too long, I stop breathing. Not fun. Oh, shit. That's scary. Is that like sleep apnea? Spark Major says, it's my guilty pleasure read, and it was fantastic. Ooh, okay. I've heard really, really good reviews from people I trust. You included, Spark Major. So I'm very excited to read it. Despazzy says, does Modazushi count as transmigration since Wei Wuxian transmigrated into Mo Shenyu? I can't remember. Does transmigration mean you turn into another person, and isekai is when you just go into another land? Like, does transmigration mean you actually became the other person? It's like all transmigration stories are isekais, but not all isekais are transmigrations. It's reincarnation. It's a reincarnation transmigration. I know it's a joke, I know. But he was... Ow! Ow! Mo Shenyu lived a life before his soul got, like, switched. Very interesting. Very interesting. I just poked myself with a push pin. Okay, shall we read? Okay. Oh, Madisha, that's great news. I'm glad that you could share that with the chat today. Thank you so much for donating. I'm glad to hear that. Wishing your grandma well. Thank you, Spark Major. What are you up to tonight? Glitch says, I won't be able to stay long, but I'll try my best to bear through it for you, Kictor, as your vids have helped me a lot during my healing process. I'll tell you if I need to go. Oh, okay. Well, just in case you do leave, I will say an early goodbye to you tonight, and I hope that you feel better, and I hope that you let us know when you're able to join so I could say hello again. Rose City Kimono, thank you for donating again. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Seven Seas releases for December is Ballad of Sword and Wine 6, Shanghai Fusheng Records 3, Wife Comes First. Stitch is very excited for that. Copper Coins, is that Copper Coins 2? Silent Reading, ooh, White Cat's Divine Scratching Post, Legend of Exorcism 4, Villain's White Halo, and Husband and I Sleep in a Coffin. Oh yes, yes. Very interesting, very interesting. CSCL says, I didn't get to say yesterday, but I am loving the scum villain icons. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad. Aren't they good? Kate is an amazing artist. Don't be fooled. Half of those are on the 23rd. Oh, shit. Okay. Damn. Christmas. Leo says, I'm tuning in from the hospital. Well, I will be stuck for the next few days, but at least I got a really nice room. Oh, Leo, I hope that you're okay. Glad I can keep you some company. Oh my goodness, Leo. All right. Oh, Xavian says, I'm making cahoots. I gotta go soon. I'll lurk until the last moment. Have a good stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope your cahoots go well. Oh yeah, the final thing I'll say today. I was driving behind Ming Xiang today. That's right. That's right. The person in front of me today was in a car, and their license plate was Mr. Ming. And Stitch and I were like, it's Ming Xiang! Okay. Okay. Also, don't worry. This is terribly sad, but we'll be good. We'll be good together. So he died. Jin Zixuan's body could finally hold itself up no longer. He leaned forward heavily and toppled over, hitting the ground with a thud. All his life he had been proud and arrogant. He took great pains to maintain his appearance and demeanor, and was fastidious about cleanliness to the point of seeming terrified of filth. But now he cut an extremely sorry sight as he fell to the ground with one side of his face planted in the dirt. The fresh blood splattering his face and the vermilion mark at the center of his forehead were the same shade of crimson. Oh, shit. Esper Lady, yes, I did see Kate Zixuan art. Oh my god. So hot. So hot. Wei Wuxian's mind was in turmoil. He stared into those eyes as the light slowly faded from them. He had been set adrift in a sea of blood, and screams washed over him ceaselessly from all around, but he could no longer hear any of them. The only thing he could hear was a voice frantically questioning him inside his head. Didn't you say you knew what you were doing? Didn't you say you could keep it under control? Didn't you say there was absolutely no problem, that nothing would ever go wrong? Wei Wuxian's mind went blank. An unknown amount of time later, his eyes suddenly snapped open. What he saw was the pitch-black domed ceiling of the demon-quelling cave. Both Wenqing and Wenning were inside the cavern with him. Wenning's pupils had returned to the whites of his eyes, signaling that he'd broken free of his berserk state. He seemed to be in the middle of whispering something to Wenqing. When he saw Wei Wuxian open his eyes, he fell silent and kneeled to the ground. Wenqing, whose eyes were red, also did not say a word. Wei Wuxian sat up. After a moment of silence, a sudden surge of rage and hatred welled up in him, and he kicked Wenning in the chest, knocking him over. Okay. Was it really his part? Startled, Wenqing shrank back and clenched her fists, but only lowered her head and pressed her lips together to keep them shut. Who did you kill? Wei Wuxian screamed. Do you know who you killed? Wen Yuan. Wen Yuan? When did he become Wen Yuan? Wen Ning, I guess. Wen Yuan ran into the cave just then, wearing a straw-woven butterfly on his hand. Oh, that's Ayuan. Sorry, I didn't even know he was here. Okay, so Wei Wuxian just kicked... Wei Wuxian kicked Wen Ning. Wen Qing was startled, and then Wen Yuan ran into the cave wearing a straw-woven butterfly on his head. He beamed at Wei Wuxian. Shan Gaga! He had wanted to show Wei Wuxian the new colors he had painted on his butterfly, but having entered the cave, he was faced with the sight of Wen Ning curled up on the ground, and Wei Wuxian looking like a fiend. All at once, he was stunned to speechless. No! Wei Wuxian whipped his head around. He had yet to rein in his emotions, and the expression in his eyes was bone-chilling. Utterly terrified, Wen Yuan jumped in shock. The butterfly slipped from his head and fell to the ground. He burst into tears right then and there. Sishu hurried into the cave, back hunched, and carried him out. Having endured the assault, Wen Ning crawled upright and kneeled once more, not daring to say a word. Wei Wuxian grabbed him by the collar and yanked him up high. You could have killed anyone, he roared. Why did you have to kill Jin Zixuan? Wen Qing watched from the side, shedding tears of sorrow and panic. She desperately wanted to step forward and protect her little brother, but forced herself to hold. What is CJ supposed to do now that you've killed him? Wei Wuxian demanded. What is CJ's son supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? His roars resonated through the demon-quelling cave and echoed outside. Wen Yuan cried even harder at the sound. Hearing the child wailing from afar, staring at this pair of panic-stricken siblings who were also at a loss for what to do, Wei Wuxian's heart sank further and further into despair. Why in the world did I have to strand myself at the burial mounds for all these years? He asked himself. Why must I be subjected to all this? Why did I have to go down this path in the first place? Why must I do this to myself? How does everyone else see me? What, exactly, have I gotten out of any of this? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? If only he had never chosen this path to begin with. All of a sudden, Wen Ning whispered, I'm sorry. He was a dead man. His face could form no expression, and his eyes could not redden, much less shed tears. But in this moment, there was a genuine anguish on this dead man's face. I'm sorry, he repeated. It's all my fault. I'm sorry. I'm like, baby girl, is it all your fault, really? Like, it's not. Listening to him stammer as he apologized over and over again, Wei Wuxian suddenly found it beyond ludicrous. It wasn't Wen Ning's fault at all. It was his own fault. Wen Ning was nothing but a weapon while he ran berserk, and it was none other than Wei Wuxian who had created that weapon. Wen Ning heeded his commands, and those commands were his to give. Damn. H-Rod Wolf has been a member for 3 months and says, for those who have also been confused by Jinling's age in the current Mdzs timeline, I just added a post to the community. Oh, yes. Isn't he... I mean, were they heading to his first birthday just now? I'm sure I could check out your post, though. Thank you for letting others know. Back in the valley, the air had crackled with tension and murderous intent. On top of that, he never hesitated to show animosity towards Jin Zixuan in front of Wen Ning. And so, when Wen Ning, locked in a state where he was incapable of conscious thought, saw Jin Zixuan make a move, he recognized him as an enemy. He executed Wei Wuxian's order to kill without a moment's hesitation. Wei Wuxian was the one who failed to control his weapon. He was the one who had thought too highly of his own abilities, and it was also he who had disregarded all the warning signs, believing he could nip any loss of control in the bud as soon as it began to show. Wen Ning was a weapon, but he had willingly volunteered. But had he willingly volunteered for that position? No. Why don't they just make Jin Zixuan a fierce corpse? I'm sure he could be a good fierce corpse husband. Could such a weak-willed, timid, stuttering person have taken any pleasure in killing so many people under Wei Wuxian's command? When Wen Ning received a bowl of lotus root soup from Zheng Yanli, he carried it all the way back up to the peak of the burial mounds without spilling a single drop. Although he could not drink it himself, he happily watched someone else do so, even asking about its taste to allow himself to imagine it. He'd killed Zheng Yanli's husband with his own hands. How could that bring him any joy at all? And still, he took all the blame upon himself, apologizing to Wei Wuxian all the while. As Wei Wuxian clutched Wen Ning's collar, he stared at his deathly pale, lifeless face. The face of Jin Zixuan, smeared and soiled with dirt and blood, suddenly materialized before his eyes. It had been similarly pale and lifeless. He remembered Zheng Yanli, who had married the one she loved and finally tasted sweetness after all the bitterness she had suffered. He also thought of Jin Zixuan and Zheng Yanli's son, Aling, the child for whom he had chosen a courtesy name. Despite being so young, the child could already grab his dad's sword and smile and make both his parents so very happy. In a couple of days, it would be his 1-month banquet. Oh, 1 month. As he thought, lost in a daze, Wei Wuxian suddenly broke down in tears. He was at an utter loss. Who can tell me what I'm supposed to do now? Other people had always come to him, asking what they should do. Now he was the one asking, and no one could give him an answer. Shit. Shit. Oh. Wei Wuxian felt a slight sudden pain in the side of his neck, as if an extremely fine needle had pricked him. His entire body went numb. He had let his guard down while his mind was in disarray, and it took him a while to realize something was amiss as the numbing sensation washed over him. By the time he did, he had already involuntarily slumped over on a stone bed. At first, he could still raise his arms, but that soon dropped onto the bed too. He could no longer move at all. Wenqing's eyes were rimmed with red. She slowly withdrew her hand. I'm sorry. I have to go get a Shiba, because they are barking. Xavian says, the teacher I work with just told me I have no classes now, so that last moment is the end of the stream, I guess. Yay for trauma. Oh, fantastic. Yay! Thank you for donating, Xavian. I'll be right back. Why is the baby Shiba barking? This is the criminal. You're okay. This is the Shiba criminal. Ah! Why are you barking? Oh, okay, okay. No crying. You're okay. You're okay. Okay, okay. Relax right here. Just stay right here. Stay right here with me. Yeah, you're okay. Oh my gosh. I think she's upset because the living room smells different. She's like, I just got it the way I liked it. Okay. She is the one that was angry at the window. Alright. So, Wenqing had to knock him out. Wenqing's eyes were rimmed with red. She slowly withdrew her hand. I'm sorry. Normally, she would have never been able to successfully get Wei Wuxian with one of her needles. Her speed was no match for his, but Wei Wuxian had not been on his guard at all. That single prick hit him with such force that his mind calmed slightly. His throat bobbed, and he opened his mouth. What are you doing? Wenqing and Wenning traded glances and stood side by side in front of him. Facing him, they solemnly bowed. Wei Wuxian felt a manic surge of unease bubble up within him. What are you going to do? What exactly are you planning to do? We were talking about it earlier before you woke up, Wenqing said. We are more or less done discussing it. Discussing what? Wei Wuxian said. Cut the crap. Pull this needle out and let me go. Wenning slowly stood from where he had been kneeling on the ground, his head still bowed. JJ and I have come to an agreement. We will go to Golden Carp Tower and plead guilty. No! Plead guilty? Wei Wuxian repeated in astonishment. Plead guilty how? Apologize or turn yourself in? Wenqing rubbed her eyes and spoke with a seemingly tranquil expression. Yeah, more or less. While you were out cold the past few days, the Jin clan of Lanling sent men to the foot of the burial mounds to shout their messages at us. What message? Wei Wuxian probed. Stop saying one thing at a time and make yourself clear in one go! Spit it all out! The Jin clan of Lanling wants you to answer for what happened, Wenqing answered. And by that, they mean they want you to hand over the 2 leaders of the Wen clan survivors, particularly the Ghost General. I'm warning you both, Wei Wuxian stated. Pull out this needle. Do it right now. Wenqing paid him no heed, but continued to speak. The leaders of the remaining survivors of the Wen clan would be us. Judging by what they said, you only need to hand us over, and this matter will be considered settled for the time being. And so, we must trouble you to lay here a while longer. The needle's effects will wear off in 3 days. I already told Sishu and the others. They'll take good care of you, and they will release you if anything unexpected happens during those 3 days. Wei Wuxian fumed. Shut the fuck up! This is already enough of a mess! Don't add to my troubles! Plead guilty my ass! Did I tell you to do that? Pull the needle out! Wenqing and Wen Ning stood in identical silence with their hands hanging by their sides. Wei Wuxian was completely paralyzed and powerless. His struggles were futile, and no one heeded his words. Suddenly, the strength seemed to leave his heart, too. He couldn't scream, he couldn't move. His voice was hoarse as he rasped, Why are you going to Golden Carp Tower? I wasn't the one who cast the 1,000 sores and 100 holes curse. But they've already decided it was you, Wenqing said. Wei Wuxian tried his best to find a solution to the problem. Then it came to him. Then find the real caster! Jin Sijin must have looked for his skilled spell practitioners. The usual method for dealing with and such malicious curses is to reflect them back onto the person who cast them. Even if not all of it can be made to rebound, some of it can, so we only need to find the person who has the same curse marks. It's no use, Wenqing said. Why not? Wei Wuxian probed. There's a sea of people in the world, Wenqing said. Where and how we'll find that exact individual. Don't tell me you want to set up checkpoints on every road and every city and make everyone strip for us to inspect them. Why not? Wei Wuxian hastily pressed. Who would be willing to set up those checkpoints for you? Wenqing rebuffed. And how long are you going to keep looking? You might be able to find them, given 8 or 10 years, but are they willing to wait? But there's no sign of the curse rebounding on my body, Wei Wuxian argued. Did they ask you about that when they ambushed you? Wenqing asked. No, Wei Wuxian answered. That's right, Wenqing said. They didn't. They went straight for the kill. Do you get it now? They don't need any evidence, nor do they need you to uncover the truth. Whether they are traces of the curse on your body is irrelevant. You are the Yiling Patriarch, supreme ruler of the demonic path. You're skilled in the diabolical arts. It wouldn't be surprising if there were no signs of the curse rebounding on you. Besides, you needn't have cast it yourself. You could send forth your Wen dogs, your minions and lackeys to do your bidding. Either way, you are the culprit. There is no getting out of it. Wei Wuxian broke into a string of curses. Wenqing waited in silence until he was done before she continued. So you see, it's no use. At this point, the identity of the person who cast the 1,000 sores and 100 holes curse is no longer important. What is important is that over 300 people, including Jin Zixuan, were killed by adding on Chongqi Path. Holy shit. But, Wei Wuxian sputtered. But what? Even he couldn't figure out what followed that but. He couldn't think of any justifications to acquit himself, or any excuses that might absolve him of blame. But even so, I ought to be the one going. I was the one who had a corpse kill them. How is it that the murderer isn't turning himself in, but his weapon is? Isn't it better this way? Wenqing asked. What's better about this? Wei Wuxian demanded. Wei Ying, we both know that Wen Ning is a weapon, Wenqing said quietly. A weapon that strikes fear in them, but also one they are using as an excuse to attack you. Once we go, you will lose your weapon, but they will also no longer have their excuse. And then, perhaps, this will finally be over and done with. Wei Wuxian stared blankly at her and then suddenly let loose a meaningless howl. He finally understood why Zheng Cheng was always so furious at the things he did, why he was always cursing him for having a hero complex, and why he was always itching to beat some sense into him. Being unable to dissuade someone who insisted on shouldering all responsibility and bearing all the terrible consequences, this was truly a feeling most detestable, most abominable. Damn. It's really crazy to see, like, the downfall of his hubris, you know? Like, he was really living large for so long. Ugh. Do either of you seriously understand what will become of you if you go to Golden Carp Tower to plead guilty? Especially Wen Ning, Wei Wuxian said. Don't you dote on your little brother most of all? Whatever comes, it is what he deserves, Wenqing stated. No, Wen Ning wasn't the one who deserved it at all. This was all on him. Either way, if you think about it, we should have died a long time ago, Wenqing said. Technically, we got lucky by gaining these extra days. Wen Ning nodded. He was always like this, nodding his head in agreement at whatever anyone else said, not once objecting. Never had Wei Wuxian ever loathed that gesture and that meekness so keenly. Wenqing crouched by the bed and stared at his face. Then she suddenly reached out and flicked Wei Wuxian on the forehead with her finger. That flick had a lot of force in it. It hurt so much that it made Wei Wuxian furrow his brow. Wenqing's mood seemed to have taken a turn for the better at the sight. I've said my piece and made my meaning clear, and I've also bid my farewells. So, goodbye. No, Wei Wuxian stated, but Wenqing cut him off. I've never really said this to you, but now that it's come to this, there are some things that must be said. I really won't have the chance to in the future. Shut up, Wei Wuxian muttered. Release me. I'm sorry, Wenqing said, and thank you. No! No! Damn! Is this where Wei Wuxian hears this for the first time, and then he tells Jin Ling that you need to say this to people? Crimson Queen, I'm definitely gonna read through TGCF, yes! Oh, man. That's fucking sad. Finding out that's where he got that piece of wisdom from is so sad. Ugh. You can't make I'm sorry and thank you traumatic. MXTX bet. Oh god. Thank you for donating, CSCL. Bing Cho kisses can make it better. Part 2. Wei Wuxian lay there for 3 full days. Wenqing was indeed correct in her calculations. 3 full days, not a moment more or a moment less. Only then was he able to move. First his fingers, then his limbs, and finally his neck. When his almost frozen blood began to circulate anew throughout his body, Wei Wuxian leapt up and dashed out of the demon-quelling cave. The rest of the Wens seemed like they hadn't slept for the past 3 days either. They sat in silence around the table in the large hut. Wei Wuxian didn't spare them a glance as he dashed madly all the way down the burial mounds. After running down the mountain in one breath, he stood there in the middle of the wilderness, bent over with his hands on his knees as he gasped for breath. It was with difficulty that he straightened up again, but as he looked at the numerous overgrown mountain paths, he didn't know which way to go. The burial mounds? He had just come down from there. Lotus Pier? He hadn't been back there in a year. Golden Carp Tower? 3 days had already passed. If he went now, he'd probably only see Wenqing's corpse and Wen Ning's ashes. He stood in a daze. For as vast as the world was, he suddenly realized he actually had nowhere to go. Nor did he know what to do either. And then, a terrible thought sprung up unbidden in his mind. He had repeatedly rejected this thought over the past 3 days, but it kept coming back, refusing to be weeded out so easily now that it had taken root. Wenqing and Wen Ning had left on their own. Perhaps deep down he was glad they did, because now he wouldn't have to agonize over what choice to make. They had taken the initiative to make that choice for him, saving the trouble. Wei Wuxian raised a hand and slapped himself, then hissed under his breath. "What are you thinking?" His cheeks stung with searing pain, and he finally suppressed the terrible thought once more. Instead, he resolved that no matter what, he should at least bring back the Wen siblings' ashes. And so in the end, he still ran in the direction of Golden Carp Tower. It wasn't hard for Wei Wuxian to sneak into a place without making a sound. Golden Carp Tower was very quiet and surprisingly not as heavily guarded as he had expected. He searched the premises for a long time but found nothing suspicious. He wandered the halls of Golden Carp Tower like a ghost, hiding when there were people and moving when there were none. He didn't know what exactly he was looking for, or how he should go about looking for it, but he froze when he heard an infant's cries. A voice inside him urged him to go towards the sound. The cries originated from a grand, unlit hall. Wei Wuxian snuck soundlessly to the door. He peeked through the cracks of the wooden windows, which were carved with exquisite fretwork. A dark coffin rested in the middle of the hall. 2 women in white were sitting on their heels before it. The woman on the left had a frail build. The sight of her back was something Wei Wuxian would never mistake. He had been carried on it countless times since he was young. It was Zhang Yanli. No! Zhang Yanli sat on her heels on a cushion, staring blankly at the polished black coffin before her. She held an infant in her arms, and as he uttered tiny cries. The woman on the right spoke softly to her. Ali, don't sit here any longer. Go take a break. Zhang Yanli shook her head, and Madame Jin sighed. Madame Jin's personality was quite similar to that of her good friend, Madame Yu. She was strong-minded and always spoke in a loud, confident tone, but when she spoke just now, her voice was quiet and hoarse, and made her sound very old. I'll keep vigil, Madame Jin insisted. Don't sit here any longer. You won't be able to take it. Mother, I'm fine, Zhang Yanli said softly. I'd like to stay a while longer. After a while, Madame Jin slowly stood. You can't go on like this. I'll go get you something to eat. She had probably been there for a while as well, sitting on her heels the whole time. Her legs had gone numb, and she tottered slightly as she stood up, but she steadied herself immediately and turned around. Sure enough, Wei Wuxian saw the somewhat steely face of Madame Jin. The Madame Jin in Wei Wuxian's memory was ruthlessly efficient and resolute. She always wore a haughty expression and was always surrounded by a resplendent air of nobility and affluence. She maintained her youthful look so well that people would have believed her to be a woman in her early 20s. But right now, what Wei Wuxian saw was an ordinary, middle-aged woman. She had graying hair at her temple and was dressed in plain white robes of mourning. She had no makeup on, revealing her ashen complexion and her dry, cracked lips. Damn, he's reading her for filth. She's sad. Let her be ugly. Wei Wuxian immediately dodged away when she walked over, about to push the door open to exit the hall. With a light tap of his foot, he leapt onto the corbel brackets spanning the hallway's ceiling, just as Madame Jin strode out and closed the door behind her. Her gaze was cold. She drew a deep breath and adjusted her expression as if she wished to don her usual air of dignity. But her eyes reddened before she could fully inhale. She had never allowed herself to show the slightest hint of sorrow in front of Zhang Yanli. The moment she stepped outside, however, the corners of her mouth fell and her features seemed to collapse in on themselves. Her entire body started to shake. This was the second time Wei Wuxian had witnessed such an unsightly and heartbreaking expression on a woman's face, and he really never wanted to see the sight again. Wei Wuxian clenched his fist without thinking, but his knuckles unexpectedly made a clear, crisp crack, and the moment she heard the noise, Madame Jin's eyebrows immediately shot up. Who's there? She looked up and saw Wei Wuxian hiding next to the corbels. Madame Jin, who had excellent eyesight, got a good look at the face concealed in the darkness. Her features contorted for a moment, and then she screamed a command in a shrill voice. Men, all of you come! Wei Ying, he's here! He has infiltrated Golden Carp Tower! Wei Wuxian rushed down the long corridor. He heard the frantic clatter of footsteps as someone else rushed out of the guard hall behind him, yet he couldn't help but flee into the night. He dared not take a single look at the expression on Zhang Yanli's face right now, nor listen to a single word she had for him. After escaping Golden Carp Tower and leaving Lanling City, Wei Wuxian was directionless once more. He began to wander aimlessly in a confused stupor, moving unceasingly, losing count of how many cities he passed through. Eventually, he came upon a gathering of people in front of a city wall. They were engaged in a heated, animated discussion. Wei Wuxian initially paid them no mind, but as he walked past, he heard the whispered words, Ghost General. He promptly stopped in his tracks and began to listen with rapt attention. The Ghost General really is savage. He said he came to Golden Carp Tower to plead guilty, but then he suddenly went berserk and went on a killing spree. Thank goodness I didn't go that day. As expected of a dog trained by Wei Wuxian, he bites on sight. That Wei Ying, though, if he can't control him, then he shouldn't have so thoughtlessly created him. He made a mad dog and didn't even chain it up. It'll backfire on him one day, and with how things are going, I think that day isn't far off. Wei Wuxian listened quietly. His knuckles twitched slightly, as did his facial muscles. Man, the Jin clan of Lanling is so unlucky. The Lan clan of Gusu is the real unlucky one. Most of the 30 or so people killed were from their clan, even though they were clearly just there for support and to mediate. No! Good thing they finally destroyed the Ghost General with fire. Just the thought of a creature like that roaming free and randomly going berserk is enough to keep me up at night. That's the end a Wen dog deserves, someone spat. The Ghost General has been reduced to ash. That should show Wei Wuxian. I heard quite a number of the family heads who will be participating in the pledge rally have already spoken up. How gratifying. The more Wei Wuxian heard, the more apathetic his expression became. He should have known. No matter what he did, they would not utter a single kind word for him. They feared him when he succeeded and were elated when he failed. If wherever his feet touched was the demonic path, what was the point of all this perseverance all the time? What had it been all for? As his eyes grew more bone-chillingly cold, his heart blazed with wilder and more furious hellfire. One of the gossips sounded smug, as if he had personally made some great contribution to the situation. Yeah, gratifying indeed. If he behaves himself from now on and just cowers on that shitty hillock with his tail tucked between his legs, whatever. But if he dares show his face again, as soon as he comes out, You'll what? The crowd who had been gossiping so energetically froze at the interruption and looked back all at once. Standing behind them was a young man dressed in black, with a pallid expression and dark circles under his eyes. If he dares show his face, you'll what? He repeated icily. A sharp-eyed person saw the flute at the man's waist and its vivid red tassel. Seized by great alarm and terror, they screamed, "Chen Qing! It's Chen Qing!" The Yiling patriarch Wei Wuxian had really showed up. The crowd fled in all directions in an instant, emptying the area around Wei Wuxian. He blew a harsh, sharp whistle, and the people suddenly felt weights push their bodies to the ground. They looked back, awash in fear and trepidation, only to discover that they had all been pinned to the ground by spirits of various forms, their mouths dripping with blood. Wei Wuxian strolled through the sprawled, immobile crowd. What's wrong? Weren't you so arrogant when discussing me behind my back? Now I've appeared before you. You suddenly changed face and prostrated yourselves? He meandered over to the man who had blustered most vociferously and stomped on the man's face with his boot. Wei Wuxian burst out laughing. Go on, talk. Why aren't you talking anymore? Oh, chivalrous hero, what exactly were you going to do to me? The man's nose was crushed by the blow. Blood flowed like a river, and his blood-curdling screams stretched on. Okay. Okay. Several cultivators watched from atop the city wall, wanting to help but not daring to step forward. Instead, one of them shouted from afar, Wei Ying! If you're so powerful, why don't you go find the clan leaders at the pledge rally? What can you prove by bullying us low-level cultivators who are too powerless to fight back? Wei Wuxian blew another short whistle, and that particular cultivator suddenly felt a hand yank him hard. He plummeted from the top of the city wall and broke both legs in the fall, letting loose a long, blood-curdling howl. Jeez! Wei Wuxian spoke over those pitiful screams, expression unchanged. Low-level cultivators. I have to tolerate you just because you're low-level cultivators? You talk, you reap the consequences. If you know you're no better than insects, why don't you know that you should watch your tongues? Doom clouded the blanched faces of the crowd, and they were terrified into silence. When Wei Wuxian didn't hear another word of idle gossip after some time had passed, he was satisfied. There we go. With another kick, he knocked out half of the teeth of a man who had been the most enthusiastic in his fabrications. Blood splattered across the ground. Everyone trembled and went even paler. The man had already passed out from the pain. Wei Wuxian lowered his head and scrubbed the blood-stained soles of his boots against the ground, leaving behind several bloody footprints. He scrutinized them briefly before delivering one last comment in a mild tone. But you insects were right about one thing. There's no point in wasting time on you. You're telling me to go find those major clans? Very well then. I'll be off. Let's go settle some scores. Yeesh. He does not care anymore. Yeah. As soon as he looked up, he saw the huge bulletin posted on the city wall. It was the one the crowd had gathered around to gossip. At the top were the words Pledge Rally. The contents of the bulletin were as followed. The 4 major clans, the Jin clan of Lanling, the Ni clan of Qinghe, the Zheng clan of Yunmeng, and the Lan clan of Gusu, had resolved to scatter the ashes of the Wen clan survivors atop the abandoned ruins of the Wen clan of Qishan's residence, the Nightless City. They had also resolved to pledge their opposition to the Yiling Patriarch, who had established his dominion over the burial mounds. A pledge rally at Nightless City? The crowd was still terrified. Sure, they were about to meet a tragic end at the hands of the Yiling Patriarch and have their corpses drafted into his service. But Wei Wuxian was no longer interested in them. After reading the bulletin, he cast them from his mind and exited the area with his hands clasped behind him, leaving them on the ground. He didn't recall the spirits holding them down. Those who cried out in pain continued to wail, and those who squirmed continued to writhe. Not a single person was able to crawl to their feet. Sometime later, a blue sword glare suddenly streaked past them. Everyone felt the weight lift in an instant. "I can move now," someone exclaimed. A few people, climbing to their feet with some difficulty, saw the blue sword glare sail back to its wielder's sheath. "Hengguanzhen!" The wielder of the sword was a very young man, handsome, with a refined air about him. He was dressed in white and wore a forehead ribbon, his expression frosty and solemn, a trace of suppressed worry coloring his brow. Oh! His steps were swift as he walked over, but he did not look at all hurried. His sleeves did not flutter in the wind. The cultivator, whose legs had been broken, battled the pain to call out to him, Hengguanzhen! Lan Wangji walked over to the man and crouched, pressing on his legs to ascertain the extent of his injuries. Determining them not to be too severe, he rose to his feet, but the cultivator continued before he could speak a word. He's like, both his legs are broken. He's like, you're fine. "Hengguanzhen, you're too late. Wei Wuxian just left." Quite a few people knew that Hengguanzhen of the Lan clan of Gusu had been trying to track down Wei Wuxian these last few days, surely to settle the score with him, to make him pay for the dozens of lives of the Lan clan of Gusu had lost so senselessly. "Yeah, he just left, less than 2 hours ago," someone else quickly interjected. "What did he do? Where did he go?" Lan Wangji asked. The crowd immediately began to vent their grievances to him. "He attacked us, without rhyme or reason. He nearly killed all of us on the spot." Lan Wangji's hands were concealed under his snow-white sleeves. His fingers twitched slightly, as if he were about to clench them into fists, but he relaxed them quickly enough. But he did say that he was heading to Nightless City to settle the score with the 4 major clans at the Pledge Rally, the cultivator quickly added. After the annihilation of the Wen clan of Qishan, the halls of Nightless City had been reduced to a magnificent but empty ruin. At the highest point of Nightless City stood Scorching Sun Palace, an impossibly wide public square stretched before it. There had once been 3 towering flagpoles at the very front of the square, but 2 were now broken, while the remaining one flew a blazing sun flag that was tattered and smeared with blood. Tonight the square was densely packed with representatives of various clans. They had arranged themselves into neat square formations, both large and small. Each clan's flag, emblazoned with their family crest, flew high in the night breeze. A temporary altar had been constructed before the broken flagpoles. Each clan head stood at the lead of their representative formation. Jin Guanyao, who we love, presented each of them with a cup of wine in turn. After they had all received a cup, the clan leaders raised them high, then poured the wine on the ground. The spilled wine seeped into the soil, and Jing Guanshan said with solemn reverence, "This wine is hereby offered to the deceased heroes of the cultivation world, irrespective of the clan or family name." "The souls of the brave departed live on forever," Nimingjoy said. "Rest in peace," Lan Qichen said. Good addition. Zheng Cheng looked gloomy. Even after he poured out the wine, he did not say a word. Okay, even better addition, Zheng Cheng. But also, he's in mourning. Come on. Ugh. Imagine being so upset that the wind doesn't even dare to shimmy your clothes. Next, Jing Guanyao stepped forward from the Jin clan of Lanling's formation and held out a square black metal box with both hands. Jing Guanshan took the box with a single hand and raised it high. Here are the ashes of the surviving Wens, he bellowed. Then he focused his spiritual energy and cracked the metal box with his bare hand. The box shattered into pieces, and white ash scattered in the chilly night breeze. Bones crushed to ashes and scattered. Cheers erupted from the crowd. Jingguanshan raised both hands and motioned for everyone to quiet down and listen to his speech. When the cheers gradually subsided, he continued in a loud voice. These ashes scattered tonight were those of the 2 leaders of the Wen survivors. Tomorrow it will be those of the remaining Wen dogs and the Yiling patriarch Wei Ying. A low chuckle suddenly interrupted his impassioned speech. This laugh was untimely, both abrupt and jarring. The crowd instantly looked to where the sound had come. Scorching Sun Palace was a magnificent edifice with a total of 12 roof ridges and 8 divine beasts installed at each end. But the crowd suddenly realized there were 9 beasts on one of the ridges. The chuckle had come from there. The extra beast shifted slightly. The next second, a boot in a fold of black clothing now dangled from the eaves, swaying gently. Everyone brought their hands to their swords. Zhang Cheng's pupils shrank, and blue veins bulged on the back of his hands. Alarmed and seething with hatred, Jingguanshan shouted at Wei Wuxian, "Wei Ying! How dare you show your face here?" The man spoke. It was indeed Wei Wuxian, but his voice sounded very strange. "Why would I not dare? Are there even 3,000 of you here? Don't forget I forgot alone against 5,000 during the Sunshot campaign. 3,000 is nothing to me. And besides, doesn't showing my face here suit you just fine? It saves you the trouble of making a special trip to my doorstep tomorrow to crush my bones and scatter my ashes." He's gone a little crazy. The Ni clan of Qinghe had also lost several disciples to Wen Ning going berserk. "Arrogant boy," Ni Mingjue said coldly. "Aren't I always?" Wei Wuxian said. "Sect leader Jin, is it fun to eat your own words? Who was it that said the matter would be over as long as the Wen siblings went to Golden Carp Tower to plead guilty? And who was it that said he would scatter my ashes tomorrow along with those of the remaining Wens?" "That's a different matter altogether," Jingguanshan said. "During the ambush at Chongqi Path, you slaughtered over 100 of my Jin sect disciples. This is one matter. And then you let Wen Ning commit murder at Golden Carp Tower, which is another." "Then, dare I ask, sect leader Jin," Wei Wuxian asked, "who was the one being ambushed at Chongqi Path? Who was the one who should have been killed? Who was the mastermind and who was the target? And at the root of it all, who provoked me first?" The sect disciples standing in their formations felt safe, concealed among the sea of people, so they summoned their courage and shouted at him one after another. "Even if Jin Sijin plotted to ambush you, you shouldn't have so ruthlessly killed so many people." "Oh." Wei Wuxian helped the one who'd spoken dissect his statement. "So if he wants to kill me, he needn't have any misgivings about dealing a lethal blow. If I die, that's just my bad luck. But if I defend myself, I must have reservations about who I hurt, even about whether I should touch a single strand of anyone's hair in the first place. In short, you can ambush me, but I can't fight back. Is that right?" Sect leader Lao raised his voice. "Fight back? Those 100+ souls were all innocent, as were the 30 lost at Golden Carp Tower. Even if you were defending yourself, why did you have to involve them? The 50 or so Wen cultivators on the burial mounds are also innocent. Why do you have to involve them? What great kindness did the Wen dogs do to you to make you so partial to those scum?" Someone else spat. "I don't think there was any great kindness at all. He's just considered himself a hero, set against the whole world. He thinks he's doing chivalrous deeds and thinks himself noble for risking universal condemnation." Wei Wuxian fell silent at this. The crowd below took his silence as a retreat. "When all is said and done, it's your fault for casting such a despicable, malicious curse on Jin Sijin." "What proof do you have that I was the one who laid the curse?" Wei Wuxian asked. The man who'd asked the question was struck speechless by Wei Wuxian's reply. Briefly stumped, he then countered, "And what proof do you have that you aren't the culprit?" Wei Wuxian smiled. "Then let me ask, why couldn't it have been you? You don't have any proof that you didn't cast the curse, do you?" The person was both shocked and furious. "Me? How could I possibly be the same as you? Don't go confusing right and wrong. You are the most suspicious of all. Do you think we don't know you and Jin Sijin bore each other a grudge for over a year?" "Who exactly is the confused one here?" Wei Wuxian said chillingly. "That's right. If I wanted to kill him, I would have done it a year ago. I wouldn't need to wait this long. If I waited, I'd forget a character like him in 3 days, much less a year." Sect leader Lao was Sect leader Yao was shocked. Wei Wuxian, oh, Wei Wuxian, what an eye-opener today has been. I've never seen a crook as unreasonable as you. You continue to humiliate and insult your victims even after you kill them. Do you not have the slightest bit of sympathy or remorse? Curses were hurled at him from all directions, but Wei Wuxian accepted them calmly. Only fury could suppress the other emotions in his heart. One of the cultivators standing at the forefront of the formation said with bitter grief, Wei Ying, you truly disappoint me. To think I used to admire and look up to you. I even said that, if nothing else, you were a founder, someone who established the first generation of your own sect. It's almost nauseating in retrospect. From now on, you and I stand in opposition. Wei Wuxian was taken aback by this speech at first, but then burst into hysterical laughter. Ha ha ha! He laughed so hard he could barely breathe. You admired me? You say that, but why did I never see you back when you admired me? And when everyone began to bay for my blood, you popped up waving your little flag to cheer and support. Wei Wuxian laughed till he was shedding tears. That admiration of yours was a bit cheap, wasn't it? And now you're talking about opposing me. All right, then. But what does your antagonism and animosity matter to me? Your admiration, your contempt, they're both so utterly insignificant. How are you not embarrassed to parade them about like this? He had just finished when he suddenly choked. A burst of dull pain bloomed in his chest. Wei Wuxian dropped his gaze to see a feathered arrow piercing him, the head buried between two of his ribs. Ugh! Ow! He had just finished when he had suddenly choked. A burst of dull pain bloomed in his chest, the head of the arrow between his two ribs. He looked in the direction of the arrow had come from. The archer was a young cultivator with delicate features, still in his shooting stance as he stood among the formation of his small clan. His bowstring was still quivering. Wei Wuxian could tell the arrow had been aiming for a fatal strike at his heart, but the archer was not particularly skilled, and the arrow's momentum had waned as it flew, causing the shot to miss his heart and pierce his ribcage instead. The people around the archer were wide-eyed with shock and even horror as they looked at their fellow who had made such a reckless move. Wei Wuxian raised his head. There was murderous fury on his face as he yanked out the arrow and flung it back with all his might. A horrible cry rang out. The arrow he had hurled back had struck the young archer right in the chest. Oh fuck, that's kind of epic. Shunk, thump, chew. A young cultivator standing by the archer's side threw himself atop his body and wailed, Gah! Gah! No! The clan's formation was instantly thrown into disarray. The leader of the clan pointed a trembling finger at Wei Wuxian. You're so vicious! Wei Wuxian casually pressed his hand to his chest to temporarily stop the bleeding. What do you mean by that? He said indifferently. He dared try to sneak attack on me. He should have expected that would be his fate if he missed. You can all call me a cultivator of the demonic path. Surely you can't have hoped I'd be magnanimous enough to let it go. Fall into battle formation, Jingguanshan shouted. We must not let him leave here alive. With this order, the standoff was finally broken. Riding their swords with bows in hand, several disciples charged forward to encircle the top of the hall. They had finally made the first move. With a sneer, Wei Wuxian took Chen Qing from his waist and lifted it to his lips. At the flute's sharp cry, countless ghastly pale hands broke through the grounds of Nightless City Square. Corpse after corpse pushed up through the paved white stone and crawled from the depths of the earth. Any cultivators who had only just mounted their swords were instantly dragged down by the corpses' grasping limbs. Wei Wuxian stood on the roof of Scorching Sun Palace, playing his bamboo flute as his eyes glinted coldly in the darkness of the night. Seen from above, the clan's uniforms resembled a pot of boiling dye of various hues, churning and roiling incessantly, colors scattering and gathering in turn. Their formations had been thrown into disorder, save for the Zheng clan of Yunmeng. Every clan leader was so busy protecting their own disciples that they were too preoccupied to attack Wei Wuxian. Right then, the icy notes of a guqin disrupted Chen Qing's song. Wei Wuxian lowered Chen Qing. He looked back to see a person sitting on another of the roof's ridges. His guqin laid horizontally across his lap. His snow-white clothes were almost blinding in the darkness of night. This is how they met. It's like how they met on the roof. Ah, Lan Zhan, Wei Wuxian called out in a cold voice. After he greeted him, he raised the flute to his lips once more. You should have known long ago that purification tone doesn't work on me. Lamonji flipped his Guqin onto his back, drew Bishan, and lunged directly at Chen Qing in an attempt to cleave the hellish flute that created such diabolical notes. Wei Wuxian whirled around to sidestep the attack and laughed out loud. Very good, very good. I always knew there would come a day when we'd have to fight for real like this. You never liked me all that much anyway. Bring it on! You never liked me that much anyway? Lamonji's movements stalled when he heard this. Wei Ying! Though he shouted the name forcefully, any sober person would have been able to tell that Lamonji's voice was trembling. But Wei Wuxian had already lost all ability to judge such things. He was already half mad, half delirious. His mind infinitely magnified all the ill will people bore him until he was absolutely certain that every single person in the world loathed him, for he too loathed them all in return. No matter who came at him, he was not afraid. It was all the same. It didn't matter who it was. That was all there was to it. Amidst the sounds of fighting and killing, Wei Wuxian suddenly heard a faint shout. Ashian! Oh, fuck! The voice was like a basin of cold water, completely dousing the vicious fire raging in his heart. Zhang Yanli? When had she come to the pledge rally? The sudden shock left Wei Wuxian almost dead with terror. He lowered Chen Qing, unable to care less about continuing the fight with Lamonji. Shijie? Zhang Cheng had also heard her voice. The color instantly drained from his face. Jay, where are you? Where are you? Wei Wuxian leapt from the roof of Scorching Sun Palace and shouted himself hoarse, just as Zhang Cheng was doing. Shijie, where are you? Where are you? I don't see you. Disregarding the countless glinting, flashing blades and swords that came pressing in toward him, he struck out with his palms and fists as he rushed through the chaotic crowd. All of a sudden, he saw Zhang Yanli's white figure submerged in the sea of colors. Wei Wuxian did all he could to shove through the people blocking his path, advancing with difficulty. There was still a considerable distance and countless people between them, and for a moment, Wei Wuxian could not move at all. It was the same for Zhang Cheng. To make matters worse, it was at that very moment that they both realized a half-decayed, fierce corpse was swaying to its feet behind Zhang Yanli. Dragging a rusty longsword in its grip, it moved towards her. Seeing this chilling scene unfold, Wei Wuxian barked sharply, "Scram! Get lost! Don't touch her!" "Make it go away!" Zhang Cheng roared. He hurled Sandu at the fierce corpse. The sword's purple glare hurtled forward, but was knocked off course midway by another cultivator's sword glare. The more flustered and panicked Wei Wuxian grew, the worse his control became. The fierce corpse completely ignored his commands. Instead, it raised the long sword in its grip before bringing it down on Zhang Yanli. Wei Wuxian lost his mind completely, screaming as he charged forward, "Stop! Stop! Stop it now!" Everyone was busy dealing with the fierce corpses swarming around them, unable to pay attention to whether someone else was in danger. With one blow, the fierce corpse split open the flesh of Zhang Yanli's back. Oh! Zhang Yanli fell to the ground. The fierce corpse stood behind her and raised its sword once more. Just then, a sword glare hurtled forth and sliced off half of its body, sending it flying. Lamonji landed on the square and smoothly caught hold of Bishan after he summoned it back. It was only then that Wei Wuxian and Zhang Cheng rushed over, too preoccupied to even thank him. Zhang Cheng scooped up Zhang Yanli, beating Wei Wuxian to it. Lamonji, on the other hand, intercepted Wei Wuxian and grabbed him by the collar to haul him around so they were face to face. "Wei Ying!" he snapped sharply. "Stop the corpses!" Wei Wuxian barely registered Lamonji's face, much less noticed his bloodshot eyes. All he cared about right now was Zhang Yanli. All he wanted to do was go over and see if Zhang Yanli was okay. With reddened eyes, he shoved Lamonji away and threw himself to the ground. Lamonji staggered from the push. He steadied himself and looked at Wei Wuxian, but before he could make his next move, he suddenly heard a wretched cry for help in the distance. Suppressing the emotions surging within him, he rushed over to the rescue. Zhang Yanli's back was soaked with blood. Her eyes were closed, but thankfully she was still breathing. Zhang Cheng drew back a trembling hand that he had used to take her pulse and heaved a sigh of relief. All of a sudden, he punched Wei Wuxian right in the face. "What's going on?" Zhang Cheng screamed at him. "Didn't you say you could control it? Didn't you say there was no problem?" Wei Wuxian slumped to the ground, sitting in a stupefied heap. I don't know either. Despairingly, he said, I can't control it. I can't. Just then, Zheng Yanli jerked. Zheng Zheng held her tightly in his arms. JJ, it's okay. It's okay. How are you? Fortunately, it was just one gash. Fortunately. He rambled on incoherently. I'll take you away right now. He moved to lift her as he spoke, but Zheng Yanli suddenly called out, Ah, Xian. Wei Wuxian shuddered and quickly responded, Shijie, I'm here. Zheng Yanli slowly opened her dark eyes. A burst of panic seized Wei Wuxian. Ah, Xian. Speaking seemed to be a terrible effort for her, but she still continued. You ran away so fast last time. I didn't even get a chance to take a look at you or say a single word to you. Wei Wuxian's heart pounded wildly as he listened. He still didn't dare look directly at Zheng Yanli, especially right now. Her face was covered in dirt and blood, just as Jin Sizhuan's face had been back then. He was even more afraid to hear what she was going to say next. I came here to tell you, Zheng Yanli said. Tell him what? It's all right? I don't hate you? Everything's okay? I don't blame you for killing Jin Sizhuan? Impossible. But she couldn't bring herself to say anything to the opposite effect either, though she didn't know what she could say to Wei Wuxian under the circumstances. All she knew was that she had to come and see her little brother. With a sigh, Zheng Yanli said, Xian, stop. You have to stop first. Don't. Okay, Wei Wuxian hurriedly replied. I'll stop. He picked up Chen Qing, put it to his lips, lowered his head, and began to play. It took him a great deal of effort to steady his mind. This time, the fierce corpses no longer ignored his command. One by one, they slowly prostrated themselves, making a strange gurgling sound in their throats, as if in complaint. Lamonji paused in his tracks, gazing over at them from afar. Then he turned back and continued to attack with his sword, helping his struggling peers, irrespective of whether they were from his sect or not. All of a sudden, Zheng Yanli snapped her eyes open wide. With an unexpected burst of energy, she shoved Wei Wuxian with both hands. The force of the shove pushed Wei Wuxian back to the ground. When he raised his eyes, he saw a long, gleaming sword had pierced her throat.
Oh my god!
Oh, shit. The one wielding the sword was the same young cultivator who had thrown himself onto the archer's body and cried so bitterly. He was still weeping profusely, tears blurring his vision. As he shouted, Wei, you villain! That's for my older brother! Wei Wuxian sat on the filthy ground, staring at Zheng Yanli in disbelief. Her head hung limply, blood flowed ceaselessly from her throat. Thank you, Scorpius, for being a member for 3 months. There's a really fun picture for us here, too. Oh, fuck. He was waiting for her to speak, as if to hear her pass her last judgment upon him. Zheng Cheng was in a daze as well, still hugging his older sister's body. Reality had yet to set in. A long time passed before Wei Wuxian let loose a grief-stricken scream. Lan Wangji struck with his sword and whirled around. Only then did the young cultivator realize he had killed the wrong person. He yanked out his sword, bringing with it a spray of blood. As he backed away in a panic, he sputtered, No, it's not me. I meant to kill Wei Wuxian. I wanted to avenge my brother. She was the one who threw herself in the way. Wei Wuxian seized him by the throat in a flash of movement. Sect leader Yao brandished his sword. Demon, unhand him! Lamonji could no longer be bothered to maintain his poise. He shoved aside the people blocking his way, one after the other, as he dashed towards Wei Wuxian, but he hadn't even made it halfway when, in full view of all present, Wei Wuxian snapped the young cultivator's neck with his bare hand. You! A clan leader exclaimed in rage. You dragged down Zheng Fengmian and his wife. You were the one who caused their deaths, and now you've made your Shijie share their fate. You have only yourself to blame, yet you still dare take it out on others. Instead of repenting, you continue to kill. Wei Ying, your crimes are beyond forgiveness. But Wei Wuxian could no longer hear any of the abuse and condemnation they hurled at him. It was like he was being controlled by another soul as he reached both hands into his sleeves to retrieve two objects. Then, before the eyes of all, he pieced the two objects together. One half at the top, one half at the bottom. The two objects joined as one, emitting an ominous, resounding clang. Wei Wuxian held it in his palm and lifted it high. The Yin Tiger Tally. Oh, shit. Man, I don't know if I've ever read that scene in the book before. Damn. I didn't realize how quickly Yanli died from how quickly Jin Zixuan died. Like, it really, really happened right after that. Chapter 19. The Core of the True-Hearted. Part 1. The Nightless City Massacre. That was what they called the bloody battle on the night of the Pledge Rally. Legend said that the Yiling Patriarch Wei Wuxian single-handedly slaughtered all 3,000 cultivators present. Some said there were over 5,000. But whether 3 or 5,000, one thing was certain. That night, Wei Wuxian transformed the ruins of Nightless City into hell on earth. And though he was the target of every cultivator present, the murderer was able to retreat to the burial mounds completely unscathed. No one knew how he had done it. Every clan suffered heavy casualties in the battle. The 4 major clans took 3 months to rally their strength and solidify their plans before they launched a successful siege of the demon's lair, the burial mounds. And thus they repaid the slaughter in kind to the evil Wen survivors and the mad Yiling Patriarch. Wei Wuxian observed the cultivators swarming before the demon-quelling cave. He had seen nearly the same expressions on the night of the pledge rally when the attendees had poured out wine and vowed to reduce him and the Wen survivors to ashes. Some of the cultivators present today were those who'd been lucky enough to survive that night, and some were descendants of those who hadn't. Almost all of them, however, were warriors of justice, and they shared the same beliefs as those people back then. A blood debt of 3,000 souls. It won't be repaid even if you die 1,000,000 deaths, said the middle-aged cultivator named Yi Wei-chun, who had claimed that Wei Wuxian had injured his leg so badly he now had to wear a wooden prosthetic. Wei Wuxian cut him off. 3,000? There were around 3,000 cultivators present that night at Nightless City, but that includes the leaders and elites of every clan. Could I really have killed all 3,000 people with them around? Do you think too highly of me or too little of them? He was only indifferently stating a fact, but the cultivator felt belittled and humiliated. What do you think we're discussing right now? He bit back furiously. Can a blood debt be haggled over? I'm not trying to haggle. I just don't want people so casually to exaggerate my past crimes. I don't want to carry the burden of things I didn't do. Homotron, thank you for your donation. The intention of the clan guy was to get revenge on his brother by hurting Wei Wuxian. He ended up killing Yanli instead, which definitely hurt Wei Wuxian more. Yes, yes, definitely. the Dark Elf, thank you for joining my membership. Welcome. Man, this is a heavy stream, but I'm so excited to find out what happens next. Okay. I'm not trying to haggle. I just don't want people to so casually exaggerate my past crimes. I don't want to carry the burden of things I didn't do. What you didn't do? What didn't you do? One cultivator rebuked. Well, I didn't tear Shifeng Jun to pieces, Wei Wuxian said. I didn't force Lan Fenzun's wife, Madame Jin, to commit suicide at the Golden Carp Tower either. I also wasn't the one manipulating the animated corpses you met on the way up the mountain. Susha chuckled. Healing Patriarch, I've heard you were presumptuous, but I never expected you to be humble. Who, if not you, could control so many animated corpses and force us into this sorry situation? In case anyone is confused, we are in the present. I was definitely confused for a moment there, but yeah, we're back to the present. And we're hearing what the public believed happened of that night, you know. Orion's Belt, thank you for donating. Says, I think if Yanli lived, her relationship with Wei Wuxian post-resurrection would have been the most heartbreaking part of the book, so they had to kill her. Yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy sudden shift, eh? Yeah, so now they're back at the cave with the juniors, right? And Wen Ning. And everyone's chasing after Wei Wuxian because he was revealed to be Wei Wuxian. And now you kind of understand why everyone would be so horrified about Wei Wuxian. Susha chuckled. Yeeling Patriarch, I've heard you were presumptuous, but I never expected you to be humble. Who, if not you, could control so many animated corpses and force us into this sorry situation? Is it that hard? Anyone could do it with the Yin Tiger Tally, Wei Wuxian said. Isn't the Yin Tiger Tally your spiritual weapon? Susha countered. I think that's a question for whoever is so obsessed with it, Wei Wuxian answered. It's just like Wen Ning. A certain prominent clan is clearly terrified of the Ghost General and calls for his demise, but they also kept him around in secret for over a dozen years. Weird. And who was it again that said he'd been reduced to ashes? Everyone unconsciously looked at the Jin sect disciples. After all, the then leader of the Jin clan of Lanling had been wholly responsible for that affair. He had solemnly sworn the two leaders of the Wen survivors had been burned to dust and even taken the lead in scattering their ashes at Nightless City. There's no need for you to sow discord, Susha rebuked instantly. At that moment, the trees began to rustle anew. Strange gurgling noises echoed from the depths of the forest. Be careful, everyone! A new wave of fierce corpses is approaching, Lan Shiren cautioned. At his words, half the crowd turned to face the oncoming horde. The other half remained on guard, keeping their swords pointed at the rabble in front of the demon-quelling cave. I already told you, Wei Wuxian reiterated. Those fierce corpses aren't under my control. If you've got time to look at me, why not pay attention to them instead? There were a few accomplished cultivators present, including several clan leaders and elders. A mob of fierce corpses presented no threat. Sword glares and Guchin notes shot forth alike, and most people were too preoccupied to care what was happening at the cave entrance. Zheng Cheng reduced 3 fierce corpses to dust with a single lash of his whip. He turned to Jinling and snapped, Jinling, are you looking to have your legs broken? Oh my god. I feel like this is just like crazy whiplash after Yanli fucking dying, you know? Like, I feel like we need to pause and just discuss, you know? Like that's a crazy place for it to stop and just continue. Like, I feel like we have to talk about the fact that Jin Zixuan just died. That was fucking crazy. It made Wei Wuxian basically go crazy. And then just how it happened so fast. It's crazy. Like, I don't remember reading this in the order of the flashbacks. Like, I feel like the Untamed has tainted my mind, you know? Not that it could taint anything, because I love it and it's amazing, but just like, oh my god. The time hopping is for narrative reasons. Yeah, I totally get it. In the current timeline, it was just revealed that Jing Guanyao killed Ni Mingjue. He has his head in his secret room. And his wife just killed herself because she found out something horrifying about Jing Guanyao. And Wei Wuxian told Lan Wangji that. And then they went to go confront Jing Guanyao, but Jing Guanyao, being the smart little guy he is, hid all the evidence, and then through Wei Wuxian grabbing his sword that only Wei Wuxian's like soul is able to open, it revealed his true identity as the like reincarnated like Wei Wuxian in Mo Shenyu's body. And then an evil horde has been, not an evil horde, but like all the cultivators have been chasing after them, but Lan Wangji stayed by his side. And they are now currently with the juniors back at the burial mounds because they saw fierce corpses, and someone else is controlling fierce corpses now, and the like angry mob of cultivators chasing them is confronting them now and being like, "You're fucking Wei Wuxian, that's crazy." Oh yeah, Jinling stabbed him, but it was like between his ribs, so it was not a fatal blow or anything. Yeah. Man, Yanli was protecting her little brother till the very end. Yes, the Wizard of Moss. Jinling stabbed him in the same place that Zheng Cheng stabbed him. The non-fatal, I gotta do this for show stabbing spot. Good night, Kate. Yunli did deserve so much better. I feel like stopping here for tonight because, I feel like I just gotta sit in my Yonli feels and think about the flashback a little bit more before we move on to more exciting things. And I also have hockey tonight. Homotron says, "Good night, Kictor. Have fun at hockey. I have no idea how sports work, but go off, I guess." Thank you. Thank you. CLCL says, "She protected her first baby." Yes. Oh, God. Oh, it's too sad. Win for Yanli. I will. I will. Kate says, I'm reading a fic that makes me think of you. Oh my god. Okay, tell me. Text me. Okay, guys. What's tomorrow? I think I should be able to stream tomorrow night, so we can just keep reading tomorrow night at 5. Awesome. Okay, I love you guys. Thanks for coming to read. It's still fun even though it's sad. All right. Bye.